Can I introduce Giles Huby from Copernicus Technology Ltd. I heard one of his colleagues speak at another event a few months ago, and it was fascinating just to hear the insight into the company and what they do. And I suspect they do many things that most of us don't realise need done, but also how they've engaged with the academic community and universities in helping growing their business. So Giles, thank you very much for being here, and over to you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me here today. What I'm going to talk about is kind of historical in a way in terms of background of what Copernicus Technology Ltd has done in the past with engaging with academia. So some of it's going to be relevant to what we're going to the subjects of today. Some of it will be less so, but I hope you find it interesting, and I hope it contributes to stimulating the Q&A session that follows this. So. As Alex said, I work with a company called Copernicus Technology Ltd. So what I'm going to do is tell you a little bit about the company. It's not just an opportunity for a shameless plug, although it's an opportunity for a shameless plug, but it's also to show you the fact that we've been going since end of 2008 we set up the company. And what the reason for giving the shameless plug about the company is to illustrate how R&D has been instrumental in the growth of the company. And we wouldn't have been able to do that R&D without the support we've had from Highlands and Islands Enterprise. So the support we've had from HIE has been outstanding. So I'd like to sort of thank you colleagues for that, Alec, whilst I've got the public opportunity to do so, because we wouldn't be in business today without that. So that's pretty fundamental. So I'm going to tell you a bit about what we do, and then in terms of engaging, or how we've engaged with academia in the past and funding and so on, I'm going to talk about, well, where did we start with that? Give you some examples of what we've actually done and what we're doing now, and give you a bit of a conclusion about if we had our time over again, would we have done the same thing? So, just to tell you a little bit about CTL. We're a small company headquartered in Moray, just outside Elgin, but we're a small company with global ambitions. So we opened an office in Lincoln last year, we've got an office in the Netherlands, and we've also got a representative in Australia, because we operate across the EU and Australia. What do we do? What we tell our clients, predominantly in the aerospace and defence industry, is that we're here to help them defeat downtime. In other words, get rid of the stuff that, all the unnecessary servicing and problems with availability of their equipment that they have. The main area we focus on is something called no fault found, which is the kind of thing where a pilot reports a fault with the aircraft, hands it over to the technicians go out and try and fix it, and they can't find the root cause of the problem. It's the kind of thing you might have had with your car in the past, where you get a dashboard warning light, you take your car to the garage, and of course as you arrived at the garage the warning light went out, they've had a play around under the bonnet, they can't find anything wrong, they go, oh, there's nothing wrong with it, Gov, and £100 please, and then you drive off, and 2 days later the light comes back on again. Oh, blimey. That's no fault found. It's a very widespread problem in aerospace, and it costs a lot of money. In the commercial sector, it's estimated to cost $200,000 per aircraft per year. And on the military side, the US Defense Department, for example, have estimated that the problem costs them $2 billion per year. So we provide a number of products, and our headline products is our testing services to help get rid of this no-fault found problem. And the way we do that is by detecting the intermittent faults that cause the no-fault found problem. The fault that's there one day and gone the next. We sell the world's leading test set that does that, and we're the exclusive suppliers for that in the EU. So we're involved in military projects, we're involved in civilian projects, we can test wiring, we can test electronic boxes, we can test stuff on aircraft, and the test set doesn't care what it's doing, what it's testing. It doesn't have to be an aircraft, it could be a piece of equipment off an oil rig, it could be wiring on a ship. So in terms of the ambition of the company and the R&D we need to do, in due course we'll be extending beyond aerospace and looking at adjacent sectors of how we apply that. So that's a bit of a flavour of what we do. Those are the headline products that we do that with. So testing is the main one that I'm focused on for now, but that's supported by data exploitation services that we provide. We'll do data analysis for the customer to help identify where they've got availability problems and no fault found problems and intermittent fault problems, so we can advise them on where to concentrate effort. And we also can provide training as well in terms of training for technicians on the diagnosis of no fault found and how to diagnose intermittent faults and that kind of thing. And there's nobody else in Europe that's doing that kind of thing. all that package of products is something that we wrap up under the term smart availability. You can either work smarter or you can work harder. And an awful lot of organisations in the aerospace industry are working harder. And with our products, we can help them work smarter and save a lot of money and a lot of time. We're a quality product in terms of what we do and how we deliver it. So we're ISO 9000 compliant. We've got customers across the UK and Europe, such as Celex and Fokker Services, who are household names in the aerospace business. But we've also, as part of our involvement in the industry, we want to give something back to the industry as well. So we're members of the ADS, which is the Aerospace Trade Association. We're a member of the Aerospace, Aviation and Defence Knowledge Transfer Network, and we sit on a couple of its national technical committees. And we're also involved in some research, which I'll come on to shortly. So that's just some background on the company and what we do. Just to give you one very, very quick case study, this test set's made in the States. It's been used on the F-16 fighter fleet there. There's a box in the radar called the MLPRF that has lots of no-fault found and intermittent fault problems, and there's a picture of it being tested there. What they were finding was that this box, that if you added up all the flying hours in the fleet, this thing was breaking every 290 flying hours, and by using this test technology, that's now been tripled. So the reliability, the availability of this box has been tripled, and the savings that's giving the Defence Department in the States in terms of the items it's recovered and the maintenance savings is estimated at $50 million at the moment. So you can see that this overall problem is not small beer. We're talking about millions here. So on to the main subject, which is the academic side of things. When we came into this, we're a bunch of ex-Air Force blokes that set this company. We'd not worked with universities before on this kind of thing, so it wasn't something that had actually occurred to us. And it was pointed out to us as an option by HIE, HIE. And also, at the same time, we'd gone down to a conference in London. We'd just joined the Aerospace Knowledge Transfer Network. And that knowledge transfer network is all about joining up government, academia and industry to work together effectively for the mutual benefit of UK PLC. We'd not come across this before, and it really opened our eyes to the opportunities, and we thought we've got to get into this in a lot more in a big way. And then you come away and you think, well, where do you start? Because that's just a selection of organisations. There's tons of organisations out there that all talking about innovation and STEM and funding and EU FP7 calls and this kind of thing. And how do you make sense of all that? So what we did, we started with these guys. So we started with the KTN, and we started with HIE, and HIE put us on to HIE Links that was in existence at the time as a means of taking this forward. So I'll tell you about some of the case studies of some of the work we've done in terms of research. So the first one was done under innovation voucher funding. This was arranged through David Chapman of HIE Links at the time, and this was a feasibility study we did with UHI, with Lewes College. This was a feasibility study of using this test set that we provide, working out how you could use it for prognostic reasons. In other words, can you capture a lot of information about what you're testing, and can you use that to predict how you can make it more available and more reliable? Can you trend its degradation as it gets older or as it gets used more, and how can you use that data? So that concept that we call prognostic fingerprint technology was something we'd had for a while, but we needed to do a feasibility study on it. And we worked with UHI on this. They did the feasibility study. They looked at the clever ways that the data aspect of that could be managed. And I don't want to go into more detail about that because I'll be giving the game away. But we couldn't have done that without them. They had that specialist knowledge that we didn't have. That's enabled us to go to a company now in the UK who are a global aerospace company, and we're now in talks with them about how we actually commercialise this concept. So that was done with HIE Links. HIE Links has come to an end now. I think that finished last year, but I think you can do the same kind of thing now with Interface, I believe. Something that we've literally just started on, this is something that we got involved with as a consequence of meeting people through the Knowledge Transfer Network, is a new research centre that's kind of headquartered at Cranfield University. It's called the Epsrc Centre for Innovative Manufacturing in Through-Life Engineering Services, which kind of trips off the tongue, doesn't it? It's just a nice, concise little title. But it's a big initiative. Cranfield are involved, Durham are involved, the Engineering Physical Sciences Research Council is involved, and they've got a bunch of sort of big players, core industry partners in BAE, Rolls-Royce, the MOD and Bombardier Transport on the train side, and they're taking on industry partners in this research as well. So we've just become one of the industry partners in that centre, and the reason for that is one of the headline research projects being done in that centre is on no fault found, that problem I was telling you about at the beginning. They're going to be doing a 3-year research project on that, and as part of that they're going to be using our test equipment to support that project, and so we'll be providing advice and assistance to that. So you've got a framework there where you've got industry, you've got kind of public sector in inverted commas with Epsrc involvement, Durham, Cranfield universities in there. So you've got a framework of industries there. So perhaps there's a model or an approach that some lessons could be learned from in terms of how something might be taken forward for an innovation centre. Early days on this has only just started, but we're extremely excited about this, and with the industry partners, there's a lot of eyes on the outcomes of the No Fault Found project, because you can see that these companies would like to save a lot of money by solving this problem. And the final example I'm going to give, again, very early days for this. We've opened an office in Lincoln in a business incubation centre called the Think Tank, which is a fantastic facility, and some of the other people working in the business incubation centre are from the School of Engineering at Lincoln University. And so they've said, they walked past the office one day, that looks interesting, what does your test set do? And we got talking, and it went from there. So now they're going to be doing an R&D project with us, using our equipment over the summer to further understand how you can exploit the use of this for testing wiring. Wiring's not very sexy, but if it's tens of metres long in a big Airbus airliner, or on a train or on a ship, it causes a big problem if you can't find the root cause of problems on it very, very quickly. And so the work that Lincoln are going to do is going to be crucial to understanding how this can be applied much more effectively in that area. So again, early days on that one. We've only just started out on that project, but we're extremely excited by that, and Lincoln are loving it too, because it's just something a bit different for them to get their teeth into. So that's the sort of 3 examples that we've been involved with on research with academia. So if we were to have our time again, would we do it again? Well, obviously the answer is yes, otherwise I wouldn't be standing here talking about it. It's ups and downs. That the paperwork involved in anything like this is always going to be a faff, but that's life. You don't get something for nothing in this life, and it's an investment. If you've got to invest time in meetings and putting forms together and getting people together to make these things happen, you've got to have a return on investment, and if the return on investment's worth doing, then it's worth the upfront investment of the paperwork faff at the beginning. Some concerns you often get with these kinds of projects is on ownership of intellectual property, but again, that's something that can be overcome. You can put a framework or an agreement in place between the partners at the beginning. Who brings what background IP to the project in terms of what prior knowledge do you bring to the project, and your foreground IP, what's the new knowledge and intellectual property you're going to create together, and who owns that? There are lots and lots of different frameworks to manage that. So again, that's something that can be overcome. So that's a couple of slight disadvantages or issues that you'll have to deal with on this. But in terms of the positives you'll get out of this, I think this is kind of mirroring a bit what Paul was saying about, what's in it for who. I think we consider ourselves to be a market leader in what we do, but we're learning every day. We don't think we know everything on this subject. We want to continue learning about this subject. So we want to have our thinking challenged. We want to work with sort of bright young guys and girls in the universities and their sort of teaching staff and what have you, and get them to come up with new ideas that we wouldn't have thought of, because of where working in our paradigm, they'll come up with stuff that's completely new we hadn't thought of. So it challenges our thinking. The other good thing as well is it's the independence and objectivity that they bring as well. That if you've been close to your subject for a long time, you won't have that independence and objectivity of view anymore, and that's invaluable. It's also very good commercially. Let's not pretend otherwise, that this isn't about helping the economy grow and things like that. So this is about independent verification of your ideas and what you're doing, and it's an opportunity for you to expand your network, and because obviously dealing with the universities, they're going to be talking to their colleagues within other faculties, within other universities, within other businesses. It all helps spread the word about what you're doing and what your expertise is. So there's, to use that horrible business expression, it really is a win-win all around. And that concludes my part of the presentation. Thank you very much for listening.